Have you ever wondered why being too nice might not be getting you the results you want in your love life? It's a common pitfall that many fall into, often without even realizing it. In this video, we'll explore how excessive agreeableness, lack of boundaries, and putting someone on a pedestal can actually be more unattractive than admirable. Today, we're blending the timeless wisdom of Stoicism with modern dating dynamics to help you navigate the tricky waters of relationships more skillfully. Stoicism teaches us the importance of self-respect and moderation, qualities that are key in maintaining not just any relationship, but a healthy and vibrant one. Stay with us as we break down these common missteps, backed by Stoic principles, to ensure you're not just being nice, but being right in how you relate to others. Don't forget to hit that like button if you find our tips useful, and subscribe to our channel for more insights on how to strengthen your personal philosophy and relationship skills. Let's get started on transforming your approach and making every interaction count. Number 1. Overly praising a woman. Imagine this. You're sitting across from someone you're really into, and in your head, you're thinking, I just want her to know how amazing she is. So you start pouring out compliment after compliment, hoping that each one brings you closer to winning her over. But here's the hard truth. By doing that, you could be pushing her away. Now, I get it. Society has taught us that being nice and showering someone with praise is the way to their heart. But let's pause and consider this through the lens of Stoicism. You see, Stoicism teaches us to act with purpose, not from impulse or desperation. When you compliment a woman too much, especially on things like her looks, you're acting on impulse, driven by the need for her validation. You want her to feel good about you, but in reality, you're making it about yourself. Imagine telling a woman how beautiful she is 3 times in a single conversation. While your intention might be to make her feel good, from her perspective, it can come across as shallow, or worse, desperate. She's heard it before. Compliments on her appearance are something she gets all the time, and you're offering nothing unique, nothing that shows real thought or understanding. Now let's take this deeper with Stoicism. The Stoics believed that we should focus on what we can control, our own thoughts, words, and actions, not on external outcomes, like how someone perceives us. Nice guys often compliment women excessively because they hope for a specific outcome. They want her to like them. But when your words are driven by need, they lose authenticity, and that desperation seeps through. What can we do instead? Think about giving compliments that truly reflect who she is, not just how she looks. Compliment something she's worked hard for: her career, her passions, her unique sense of style. Tell her you admire the way she handles herself in difficult situations. These are the compliments that matter, because they come from a place of observation and understanding, not a shallow desire to impress. Stoicism teaches us to find balance, to not be overly influenced by the need to please others, but to act with intention. At the end of the day, remember this: less is more. A well-timed, thoughtful compliment speaks volumes over a string of generic ones. So the next time you feel the urge to shower her with praise, pause, reflect. Ask yourself, is this coming from a place of genuine admiration, or am I seeking validation? The Stoics would advise you to focus on what you can control, your own words and actions, and let the rest fall into place. Number 2. Purchasing gifts for her. Buying her gifts sounds like a simple, kind gesture, right? Yet for many nice guys, this common act of generosity can become a double-edged sword. Now, don't get me wrong, gift giving can be beautiful. It adds a special touch to occasions like birthdays, Christmas, or even those spontaneous little moments that can make someone's day. And yes, if her love language happens to be receiving gifts, this might be one way she feels appreciated. But here's where things take a turn. A mistake many nice guys make is relying too heavily on gifts, thinking they can buy their way into someone's heart. Let's break it down through the lens of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to focus on what we can control and to act with reason rather than emotion. Nice guys often believe that by showering her with expensive gifts, fancy dinners, or extravagant gestures, they can somehow manipulate her feelings. Deep down, they might be thinking, if I keep buying her these things, she's bound to love me eventually. They hope that one day she'll wake up and suddenly realize, wow, he just bought me a bracelet, took me out for dinner, and even sent me a huge sum of money. I must be in love with him now. The truth is, this approach can backfire. While it may attract someone who is primarily interested in material gain, a woman of true value will see right through it. She might begin to feel uncomfortable, seeing these lavish gifts as a form of manipulation rather than genuine affection. This is where Stoicism can offer clarity. Instead of trying to control her emotions with things you buy, focus on what you can control: your actions, your character, your authenticity. A Stoic knows that true connection isn't built on materialism, but on mutual respect, understanding, and emotional balance. Nice guys often make the mistake of thinking that by giving and giving, they'll receive love in return. But the problem lies in the intention. If you're giving gifts to earn her affection, you're not truly acting from a place of generosity. You're acting from a place of expectation. Stoicism teaches us to let go of that need for control over others, and to instead focus on becoming the best version of ourselves, someone she can genuinely connect with. So, the next time you feel the urge to impress her with something expensive, pause and ask yourself, am I giving because I truly want to, or because I expect something in return? Gift giving, when done from the heart, can be powerful. But when it becomes a tactic to win someone over, it loses its value, and the relationship begins to feel more transactional than emotional. Remember, a high-value woman will appreciate your character, your confidence, and the calm self-assuredness that comes with Stoic principles. She won't be won over by material things, but by the way you carry yourself, how you make her feel safe, and how you respect her space and emotions. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that gifts can do the hard work for you. Connection is built on something much deeper. Before we dive into the next point, take a moment to reflect on this idea. If you've ever found yourself in a similar situation, thinking that giving more would earn more, remember that real connection isn't something you can buy. It's built on respect, shared values, and emotional depth. If this message resonates with you, drop a comment below, sharing your thoughts, or just type, "True connection goes beyond material things." Your engagement not only helps others who might be going through the same, but it also supports the channel. And of course, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss out on these valuable insights. Now, let's move on to the next point. Number 3, craving her approval. Imagine this. You're pouring out your feelings, sending heartfelt messages, tagging her in every cute post on social media, hoping she'll see how much you care and change her mind. You think if you show her enough attention, she'll eventually realize you're the one she's been missing all along. But here's the truth. That approach doesn't work. It never has, and it never will. And this is where many nice guys fall into a trap. They confuse being available and expressing feelings with begging for affection. But begging for someone's attention sends the wrong message. It doesn't say, "I'm a confident, grounded person, worthy of your time." Instead, it screams desperation. In the context of Stoicism, we learn that seeking external validation, whether from a woman's affection or anything else, is a road to disappointment. One of the foundational principles of Stoicism is focusing on what is within your control and letting go of what is not. Begging for someone to like you? That's entirely outside your control. You can't force someone to have feelings for you, and by trying too hard, you end up losing your own sense of self-respect. A Stoic approach teaches us that it's essential to maintain your dignity and emotional balance, even when things don't go as planned. Let's say a guy gets rejected. Instead of gracefully accepting it and moving on, he clings to the hope that if he just tries harder, sends another message, tags her in another post, or makes another declaration of love, she'll change her mind. But in reality, this kind of behavior often backfires. It shows a lack of emotional control and self-worth. Women, much like anyone else, are naturally drawn to people who are self-assured, not those who seem like they're willing to sacrifice their pride for a chance at love. Take an example. You've expressed interest in someone, but she doesn't feel the same way. A Stoic man would accept this outcome with grace, recognizing that her feelings are not within his sphere of control. He would move forward without resentment, understanding that maintaining his own inner peace is more important than chasing what isn't meant for him. On the other hand, a nice guy might continue to beg for her attention, thinking persistence is key, not realizing that he's only driving her further away. The key mistake nice guys make is this: they place their worth in the hands of someone else, hoping for approval, and when it doesn't come, they feel devastated. A Stoic understands that approval from others is fleeting, but self-respect and composure are things no one can take away from you. So, stop begging for her to like you. Show your interest, but if it's not reciprocated, walk away with your head held high. That's true strength. Number 4, giving her life too much of your attention. Let's talk about one of the biggest traps nice guys fall into, and it's something you may have seen or even experienced: over-investing in her life to the point of suffocation. This is number 4 on the list of mistakes nice guys make that you should avoid at all costs. Imagine this: a guy who feels that in order to win a woman's heart, he has to immerse himself into every corner of her life. He's constantly texting her, calling her throughout the day, and flooding her with small gifts, often uninvited. At first glance, it seems thoughtful, right? But here's where it goes wrong. He tries to become so intertwined with her existence that there's no space left for individuality. Stoicism teaches us the importance of balance, of maintaining our own sense of self. In a relationship, this principle becomes even more critical. Over-investing means you're losing control of your emotions, forgetting that you need to stand firmly on your own ground before you can even attempt to merge lives with someone else. Take a step back and think about it. This guy might tag her in posts on social media, show up at her favorite coffee shop unannounced, and try to always be there for her, even when she's with her friends. While he thinks he's showing dedication, what he's actually doing is sending a signal of desperation. And desperation, it's the opposite of attraction. It's suffocating. Here's a common example. You're out for lunch with your friends, and every single day, there he is, whether you invited him or not. At first, you might think it's coincidence, but it soon becomes clear that it's intentional. He believes that if he's constantly present, she'll notice him more, and eventually, she'll see how much he cares. But in reality, this behavior creates an unhealthy dynamic of dependency. And in Stoicism, we understand that true love and respect are rooted in autonomy, not control or overbearing attention. Stoicism reminds us to avoid extremes, especially in relationships. If you're pouring all of yourself into someone else's life, you leave none for yourself. A balanced relationship allows both individuals to grow independently while nurturing their connection. The nice guy, unfortunately, fails to understand this and ends up losing his own identity in the process. The truth is, being a nice guy doesn't mean you have to overextend yourself. In fact, that's the last thing you should do. Stop trying to be everywhere she goes. Stop trying to be the person who fixes everything. A truly stoic man knows when to step back, letting his actions speak for themselves without needing constant validation. It's in this space of calm confidence that you'll find respect, and with respect comes true attraction. So, if you want to avoid the friend zone or worse, being labeled a stalker, take a moment to reflect on how much of yourself you're giving away. It's not about merging into someone else's life. It's about balancing your own life and creating room for a genuine connection. Remember, in the art of attraction, less is often more. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt like you were overextending yourself in a relationship? Or maybe you've seen someone else fall into this same trap. Either way, your experiences could help someone else who's watching, so feel free to share them in the comments below. And if this message resonates with you, just type "I choose balance" to let others know you're embracing a more mindful, stoic approach to relationships. Let's keep the conversation going. Number 5. Self-promoting. Let's dive into a common mistake that nice guys make. One that you've probably seen play out countless times online. A guy wearing a fedora, wielding a katana, or flaunting his VIP access to some exclusive event. He brags about his finances, his knowledge, or something he thinks makes him unique. Whether it's talking about his high-paying job or his ability to get into restricted areas, he believes that these things will impress a woman to the point where she'll be enamored with him, and boom, just like that, they're in a relationship. But here's where the real problem lies. What he's actually doing is covering up a deeper insecurity. A guy who brags often lacks substance in his personality. He feels that without these flashy displays, he doesn't have anything of real value to offer in a relationship. Stoicism teaches us that external validation, whether it's through material possessions or social status, is fleeting and ultimately shallow. True worth comes from inner strength, self-control, and understanding what truly matters. Yet, many nice guys miss this point, thinking they need to overcompensate with things outside of themselves because they lack confidence in who they are. This approach is fundamentally flawed because it relies on logic to create attraction, which isn't how relationships work. Women, by nature, are more emotionally driven when it comes to attraction. They don't care about how much you know, how much you make, or what you drive, unless, of course, she's only after superficial gains. What truly captivates a woman is how you make her feel. Bragging only creates a barrier because it turns the interaction into a transaction of facts and figures instead of genuine connection. Instead of trying to build attraction through external achievements, the focus should be on how you show up in the world, how grounded you are in your values, and how you make others feel. Bragging is a red flag, not only because it's unattractive, but because it signals that a person lacks the very thing they are trying to prove: real confidence. When you lead with what you have, instead of who you are, you communicate that your worth is tied to external factors. And here's the truth: women see through it. They're not going to swoon over the car you drive or the VIP access you have unless they're superficial. A high-value woman is drawn to authenticity, self-assuredness, and emotional intelligence, the things that help her feel safe, understood, and valued. That's what builds a real connection. So if you're tempted to brag or lead with your achievements, pause. ask yourself why you feel the need to highlight those things. Are you masking insecurities? Are you trying to impress because you fear being inadequate? True strength, as the Stoics remind us, comes from within. Confidence doesn't need to be paraded around. It speaks for itself in how you carry yourself and in how you treat others. By shifting your focus from boasting to becoming a better person from the inside out, you'll stop making this mistake and start fostering genuine attraction. You won't need to overcompensate with what you have because your inner worth will speak louder than anything you could ever brag about. Number 6, too much, too soon, and too often. Let's talk about a common trap many nice guys fall into, one that you should definitely avoid: rushing things, too much, too soon, and too often. At first glance, being a nice guy seems harmless, even endearing. He's sweet, caring, and often wears his heart on his sleeve. But here's where things start to go wrong. Nice guys often have no concept of pacing when it comes to relationships. They go from 0 to 100, seeing no issue in fast-forwarding through key stages. And that's where trouble begins. Imagine this. You've just started seeing someone. It's only been a few weeks, and suddenly he's talking about a future together as if it's already written in stone. "We've been together for 3 weeks now," he might say, "and it's so obvious we're meant to be together forever. Why wait? Let's start planning our life together. Kids, marriage, the whole thing." While this might sound romantic in a movie, in real life, it often feels overwhelming and unsettling. So, what's the real issue here? The nice guy, with all his good intentions, hasn't begun his journey of self-development. He's likely unaware of his own insecurities, using his affection to mask the deeper work he needs to do on himself. He hasn't built up high-value traits like emotional stability, patience, or self-respect. And worse, he likely doesn't even see the need for self-improvement, perhaps viewing therapy as unnecessary or even a waste of time. Here's where Stoic wisdom can make all the difference. Stoics emphasize the value of self-control, of not letting external situations or feelings dictate your actions. A Stoic man understands that love isn't just about passion or chemistry. It's about building something solid over time. He knows that real growth, both within himself and in his relationships, comes through consistency, not urgency. Rushing into "I love you" or proposing within months doesn't demonstrate commitment. It shows a lack of restraint and emotional maturity. A nice guy often believes that being open and honest about his feelings, no matter how early on, is a sign of politeness or honesty. But in reality, this tendency to move too fast is often a sign of insecurity, a desire for validation, or an attempt to secure the relationship out of fear. Instead of allowing things to unfold naturally, the nice guy tries to force them, and this is where things can go wrong. No one should feel pressured into making life-altering decisions like marriage or children because someone is impatient. So what's the lesson here? Don't confuse fast-tracking a relationship with genuine connection. The person who truly respects you and themselves will take their time. They will be patient. They will grow alongside you, and they will let things develop naturally. In relationships, pace matters. If you're a guy, don't make the mistake of thinking that moving fast will somehow deepen the bond you have with someone. If anything, it's the slow and steady approach that gives the relationship room to flourish. And for those on the receiving end, beware of anyone who's rushing you into the future. Chances are, they're more interested in what you represent to them than in who you really are. Let love grow at its own pace. As the Stoics teach, control what you can, but let go of the need to force the things you can't. Before we dive into the next point, I want to hear from you. Does this idea of rushing too quickly in a relationship resonate with you? Have you ever been on either side of this dynamic? moving too fast, or feeling overwhelmed by someone else's speed? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts or experiences. And if you agree with the message, simply type "patience over urgency" to let us know it hit home. We're all here to grow and learn from each other's stories, so don't hesitate to join the conversation. Number 7. Constantly saying sorry. Imagine this scenario. You're in a conversation with someone, and the moment you share your thoughts, you feel this need to apologize. Or maybe you lightly touch someone's shoulder or back in a friendly manner, but suddenly you start saying, "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." The over-apologizing starts flooding the conversation, turning what could have been a moment of confidence into a reflection of insecurity. Let me explain why this is a huge mistake that many nice guys make. They think that by constantly apologizing, they can erase any awkwardness, making the girl feel better or less uncomfortable. But the opposite happens. What they don't realize is that every time they apologize excessively, they reveal a deep-rooted fear of rejection, a fear that they've done something wrong, even when they haven't. It becomes a cycle of overcompensation, driven by this internal pressure to fix something that may not even need fixing. Stoicism teaches us the importance of remaining composed and grounded in our actions. A Stoic doesn't apologize for every small thing unless it truly warrants one. Why? Because excessive apologizing not only reflects a lack of confidence, but signals to others that we don't trust our own decisions. When you constantly apologize, you reveal weakness, a soft and submissive side that is far from attractive. For example, let's say a nice guy gives a compliment and then immediately backtracks. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I just couldn't help but notice how beautiful you are." He's trying to be respectful, but by apologizing for a harmless compliment, he's undermining his own words. It creates discomfort, not because of the compliment, but because of his lack of self-assurance. Stoicism teaches us to embrace the discomfort and be okay with imperfection. Not everything requires an apology. If you sense discomfort, ask yourself first, did I really do something wrong? If not, don't apologize for existing in the space or sharing your thoughts. This is where many nice guys go wrong. Instead of embracing confidence, they bow down to the fear of making someone uncomfortable, thinking apologies will salvage attraction. So the lesson here is simple. Stop apologizing for every little thing. Only apologize when it's truly necessary. Be grounded in your actions and words. Confidence and calmness under pressure are far more appealing than constant, unnecessary apologies. Number 8. Forcing her to make a choice. Here's a scenario we've all encountered. You're out with a girl and the question comes up, what should we eat tonight? It sounds simple, but this is where many nice guys stumble, and you might not even realize it. You're trying to be polite, leaving the decision up to her, thinking it's a way to show respect. You might ask, "What do you feel like eating?" And when she doesn't give a clear answer, you ask again, hoping she'll finally decide. But here's the truth. Constantly putting the decision-making burden on her is not what she truly wants. As Stoics remind us, part of living with purpose is taking responsibility for our choices and actions. In relationships, this principle translates into leadership and decisiveness. A woman, especially when she's out with a man, often craves the sense of security that comes from knowing he can take the reins and make decisions. Not because she's incapable of deciding, but because it shows confidence, direction, and a desire to ease her mental load. Let's say she declines the first few suggestions you offer. What she's really signaling might be something deeper, like she's craving Italian but doesn't want to outright say it. A confident, stoic approach would be to step in and say, "I've got this," Let's go grab some pasta at that cozy Italian place I know you'll love. It's about paying attention, taking charge, and making her feel like she's in capable hands. Stoicism teaches us to read between the lines, to lead with quiet strength, and to focus on action rather than endless deliberation. Unfortunately, nice guys tend to do the opposite. They hesitate, defer, and overthink, leaving the burden of decision-making on her. On a date, he'll ask her to choose where to go, what movie to see, and sometimes even whether they should keep dating. This indecision isn't seen as respect. It's viewed as passivity, a lack of direction. It doesn't evoke attraction. It makes him seem unsure of himself. The Stoic man understands that decisiveness is key. Women aren't looking for dominance in the sense of control. They're looking for a man who can confidently make choices, show leadership, and relieve the stress of always having to be the one to decide. Constantly putting the decision-making on her creates an imbalance, one that eventually leads to frustration and, most commonly, the dreaded friend zone. Nice guys often fall into this trap because they think they're being considerate by letting her choose. However, the truth is, if you never take the initiative, it signals that you're not willing to lead, and this lack of leadership can erode her attraction. A woman wants to feel like she can relax, that you've got things under control, and she can simply enjoy her time with you. So, instead of waiting for her to make the call, step up and confidently say, "I've decided we're going to this place tonight. I want you to relax, not worry about a thing." It's not about forcing decisions on her, but about showing that you care enough to take responsibility and make things easier for her. Now that we've explored the importance of decisiveness and taking charge, it's time to ask yourself, do you resonate with this? How does this approach align with your own experiences in relationships? When have you noticed the difference between being passive and stepping up with confidence? Share your thoughts in the comments below, or if this message strikes a chord with you, just type, "I'll take the lead." It's a small step toward owning your decisions and embodying the calm, purposeful mindset of a Stoic. Number 9, asking how she's feeling. Picture this. You're with someone you really care about, and suddenly something seems off. Maybe it's her body language or the change in the tone of her voice. Instinct kicks in, and as a nice guy, your first reaction is to ask, "Are you okay?" You're trying to show you care, to reassure her. But here's where many fall into a dangerous trap. Stoicism teaches us to master our emotions, to find calm in the chaos of uncertainty. But many nice guys don't realize that their constant need for reassurance, asking if she's okay every time there's a slight shift in energy, is a sign of insecurity. A woman doesn't need to feel like you're anxiously monitoring her every mood. This behavior not only reveals codependency, but it also turns something that should be natural and effortless into an interrogation, making her feel uncomfortable rather than valued. Here's an example. You've just spent a lovely evening together. Suddenly, she seems quieter. The nice guy instinctively panics, assuming something is wrong, and asks if she's okay. When she replies, "I'm fine," he asks again, thinking he can fix whatever is wrong. But this overcompensation, this need to control the situation, becomes exhausting. What started as concern morphs into a behavior that suffocates her. According to Stoic principles, it's essential to understand that we can't control others' emotions or reactions, but we can control how we respond. Instead of anxiously asking her if she's okay every few minutes, trust that she'll communicate if something is really wrong. A calm and composed man who can let minor discomforts roll off his back is much more attractive than someone constantly looking for validation. One mistake nice guys make is trying too hard to prove themselves. They buy gifts, spend all their time with her, and keep asking her how she feels, thinking they're being attentive. But in reality, this constant need to check in comes across as a lack of confidence. A Stoic knows that attraction doesn't depend on checking someone's emotional state every 5 minutes. It comes from being grounded and secure in your own value. When you display this kind of calmness and confidence, you show her that you trust the connection between you. Ironically, by letting go of the need to ask if she's okay all the time, you create a space where she feels safer and more drawn to you. In summary, avoid the trap of overcompensation. Stop asking if she's okay every time there's a tiny shift in mood. Trust in yourself and the relationship. Let your actions speak, not your constant worrying. A woman wants to feel secure, not smothered. Remember, less is more. Keep your cool, stay grounded, and let the attraction grow naturally. Number 10, hiding your authentic opinion. Let's paint a picture here. Imagine a guy who, in his quest to win a woman's heart, decides to be agreeable to a fault. On the surface, it might seem harmless, right? Who doesn't want to be liked and accepted, especially by someone they care about? But there's a deeper problem here, and it's one that a lot of so-called nice guys fall into. It's about not sharing their true opinions, and it's one of the most common mistakes that can backfire in the long run. Now let's dive into why this happens. Nice guys, often driven by fear, are scared to lose a woman's interest. So what do? They hide their real thoughts, opinions, and preferences. They lie, not blatantly, but subtly through omission or agreement. For instance, let's say she suggests going to a restaurant that serves food he doesn't particularly enjoy. Instead of expressing his real taste, he nods along enthusiastically. Maybe she loves certain movies or concerts that he couldn't care less about, but he still pretends to be excited just to impress her. While this may seem like he's being accommodating, it's actually a subtle form of manipulation. The Stoics would advise against this type of behavior because it doesn't align with living truthfully or authentically. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Never esteem anything as an advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." By not expressing his true feelings, the nice guy compromises his integrity. He's not acting from a place of inner strength or self-respect. Instead, he's hoping to manipulate the situation by making her think, "Wow, we have so much in common. He's perfect." But here's where it backfires. Relationships aren't built on deception, even if it's dressed up as harmless agreeability. Soon enough, she starts noticing that something is off. It's easy to detect when someone is not being their authentic self. The moment she realizes this, her attraction fades, because no one is truly drawn to a person who lacks confidence in their own identity. And then, what happens? The dreaded friend zone, or worse, being completely ghosted. Stoicism teaches us that authenticity and honesty are pillars of a good life. Instead of pretending to be someone you're not, embrace who you are with confidence. Share your true opinions, even if they don't align with hers. Opposing views and preferences don't need to drive a wedge between two people. In fact, they create opportunities for compromise, which builds a more genuine connection. If you're constantly molding yourself to fit someone else's expectations, you're living a life of quiet desperation, hoping for approval that won't last. In the end, it's not about trying to be a chameleon, constantly changing your colors to blend into someone else's world. It's about standing tall as your true self, unapologetically showing your own colors, and allowing someone to appreciate you for who you really are. A connection built on shared honesty and mutual respect will always last longer than one based on false impressions or shallow agreements. So, Nice guys, take a lesson from the Stoics. Be authentic, be grounded, and never compromise your own character just to gain approval. As we wrap up today's exploration into the nuanced world of nice guys and relationships, it's clear that while kindness is invaluable, it must be balanced with self-respect and authenticity. Stoicism, with its emphasis on moderation, self-awareness, and respect for both self and others, offers a robust framework for not just navigating, but thriving in our interpersonal connections. We've dissected how behaviors like overpraising, excessive gift-giving, and seeking constant approval can undermine the very relationships they aim to strengthen. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our intentions, to act with purpose, and to maintain our dignity, values that are crucial in forming genuine and lasting bonds. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you observed these dynamics in your own relationships? How do you find balance between being nice and maintaining your self-respect? Share your reflections in the comments below. It's through these discussions that we all grow. And if you found today's insights helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content on how to strengthen your personal philosophy and relationships. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest videos. Lastly, check out the recommended videos on screen for more guidance on living a more fulfilled and stoic life. Each click supports the channel and helps us bring more valuable content to you. Thank you for watching, and remember, in the art of relationships, as in life, the wisest path is often one of balance and thoughtful reflection.